Hundreds of Jacob Zuma supporters thronged to Durban's Mabhida Stadium yesterday to attend a prayer meeting to celebrate his return home on medical parole. Zuma told supporters that abandoning the ANC out of anger would be a grave mistake, as they would not be able to effect change at the next elective conference. That speech setting the tone for the build-up to the ANC's 55th National Conference. Let's unpack it all for you now. The University of Johannesburg's politics professor, that's Siphamandla Zondi, joins us now via our video link. Prof, it's great to have you with us this morning on the show on a whole range of issues related to, firstly, the gathering there at Durban's Mabhida Stadium, the gathering itself, and then that video address by former President Jacob Zuma. He's really sort of set the tone for that 55th National Elective Conference for the ANC.
Good morning and good morning to the viewers. It certainly was an important event. It has so many meanings. It's pregnant with all manner of meanings. Taking place just before the local government elections. And President Zuma former President Zuma conveying two messages. One is the rally for support for the ANC in spite of whatever disgruntlement might be having, because the ANC does tend to unite in the run-up to election. And then the second one saying almost after the elections, then deal with the leaders or the structures that you must be disgruntled with, therefore setting the tone for the ANC's next electoral congress, almost signaling that there must be a change to the current leadership.
Yeah, it's very interesting to hear how he talks about the ANC and its current leadership as sort of two separate entities.
Oh, yes, yeah. He is a seasoned ANC figure. He's over time learned that the brand ANC might be sometimes a lot more significant, a lot more popular, a lot more consequential than individual leaders who come and go. And it's just decided that there is no alternative outside the ANC. The only option is to change the leadership of the ANC. He is himself a product of that, of those who were disgruntled with the leadership of Thabo Mbeki, who decided that they would change it within in Polokwane. And he was a victim of that, who were those who were disgruntled with him and who decided that they will move him out of power and recall him from his presidency from within instead of stepping outside. So it's a pattern that we've seen, and it's been tried and tested, and it's realized that the best thing is to bet for change in about a year's time.
Yeah, I mean, a whole range of figures there that are important, but who stands out for you, Prof, insofar as 2022 and campaigning is concerned?
In a strange touch of irony, I would say to you that who stands out is a guy called Newzroom Afrika, pretty influential figure on social media, on the internet, and very critical figure in terms of there's campaigns in support of Zuma running up to his arrest, and then after his arrest, the campaigns that ended up in looting and other forms of destruction. It seems to me that those campaigners who are legally known figures in political terms, but very well-known celebrities who have influence in the social media and all of that, will become significant for Zuma's political life going forward. Of course, we do concentrate on the disgruntled senior leaders of ANC like Mabhida, like Ace Makashule, and like Bathabile Dlamini and others. They are significant, but there is this other significant portion of leaders who mobilized for this meeting yesterday a lot more than the formal structures are. So there's a kind of a balance between the informal and the formal structures of political mobilization that is going on, and that has always been the hallmark of Zuma's power, the ability to campaign within the ANC and campaign without the ANC, outside the ANC, and that has been happening right now.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously used the opportunity once again to bemoan the fact that he was incarcerated in the first place. He talked again, as he's done several times in the past, about being sent to prison without a trial and the injustice of it in his view. But, I mean, you know, how do we view the event yesterday insofar as elections are concerned? Is that the real reason? It's dubbed as a homecoming prayer for the former president, but are elections really the real reason for bringing people together in that way? Because isn't there that segment of perhaps previous, now on the fence ANC voters who might desert the party at the polls because of what happened to Jacob Zuma?
Elections are always about the facts of what happened, what did not happen, and all that, but also secondly about the interpretation of facts. You know, that's very, it's very critical to realize that Zuma keep making the fact that he was actually imprisoned without a trial. It is true. And then to make an interpretation of that as being the abuse of the due process of law, which might be debated, and use all of that to influence people's perceptions about what is happening and people's decisions about what is happening. A lot of it is undermining the campaigns of the opposition parties, because he's doing all of that in favor of the ANC in the hope that once after the election that the ANC would be transformed from within. And therefore the old of the ANC, which he is part of, and the new of the ANC with its new young people and social media and not fully members of the ANC but simply sympathizers, are coming together and being mobilized again by Zuma, as is done also in the past, for this particular end. But we do not know whether that will cause qualitative change in any direction within the ANC. We'll have to wait and see what happens by December of 2022.
Upheaval does describe to some way what's happening, not only in the governing party, but certainly in a number of other opposition parties as well. But let's focus for the purposes of our discussion on the ANC. The upheaval that we're seeing now and over the past years, Prof, it's not like it's an isolated incident of the past, say, 5 years or even the past decade. There have been periods of continuous upheaval, even though they've taken different shapes and forms.
Oh, definitely. We've known that going back to the 1970s, that by design, the ANC is a home of a variety of political, ideological strands, and therefore the ANC has, in its very making, the possibility of contestation all the time, and sometimes big contradictions, and sometimes even crises and near collapses many times in history. It is in its design that it makes it so difficult to run the ANC, because as soon as you've won one election, you now have to fight for your life from the first day up to the next election. So it's permanent, but it also is a strength, in the sense that it tests itself internally and it can appear as many things to different people, depending on what they need, which many opposition parties aren't able to do. Therefore, they aren't able to match it fully. Given the challenges the ANC has had, given the challenges of administration, given the many failures in government, the ANC should have diminished a lot more than it has. But it has this ability, because of its making as a pro-church, that enables us to survive in many times, because it's able to present itself in different ways to different constituencies.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. Prof, let me thank you for your time. Thanks very much indeed for joining us to unpack all of the nuances around what unfolded in Durban yesterday. Professor Siphamandla Zondi is with the University of Johannesburg. He's the politics professor there. Thanks very much indeed.